Well, welcome officially, everybody. My name is Mark Kowal. I'm product marketing over at Quiq, and we're just really happy that we get to come to you and really talk about AI contact center and really going from a traditional contact center to being an AI leader. And so we want to welcome everybody and in getting started. First thing we want to do is just kind of give you an overview of what we're going to be talking about today, help everybody understand what to expect. The first thing is really to talk about what the traditional contact center is all about, and then really going into what it can become. That's the most important thing. It's not really about today's contact center, it's really about tomorrow's and what it means to be generally in a contact center of I'll just say normal expectations to now being an agentic AI leader and moving on. And we're going to get into what the AI revolution in CX is really all about, agentic AI, AI agents and assistants and AI services. And we really want to be able to help explain and bring you up to speed on what's been going on with Quiq and really what's going on in the market. So we're going to get into that. We'll talk a little bit about customer success stories and then really how you can get started with the overall um, effort of becoming an AI leader. Like to just introduce ourselves. Again, my name is Mark Kowal. I'm in product marketing here at Quiq and just joined Quiq relatively recently. So in the last 4 months or so, and happy to be here. It's really been a great start so far. And I'm joined here by Chris Humphris. And Chris, give you a second. You can introduce yourself.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, I've given a international flavor here coming out of the UK. Again, like Mark, fairly new into Quick, but 25 years in the software industry. And I think for today, the key part is 17 years in the contact center and digital customer engagement space. So, like Mark says, we want to give a lot of practical advice today. There's a lot of buzz around this subject, as we all know. So, looking forward to digging in and just sharing some practical wisdom.
Yeah, that's great. I think Chris and I, we kind of joke back and forth often about who's got all the contact center and AI experience back and forth, who's got more. We've been around for a while, and so it makes it exciting to see how this revolution is taking place. Okay, let's get right into it. As I said, we want to talk a little bit about the traditional contact center. What we know that it needs a revolution. I think anybody that's been in the business understands exactly where the contact center world is today. And we know that there's a lot of current challenges. And with all the AI discussion that's been going on, we really want to be able to help you understand what the issues are and where you can make the biggest change and improvement. And one of the areas that we have, you'll see that challenges contact centers today is in the integration and tech stack complexity. There's a lot of legacy systems and integration barriers. Matter of fact, that really isn't all that new. The interesting thing is it's always been that the contact center is constantly changing and evolving. And so we see a big struggle in order to upgrade the systems, to integrate into new systems. And those challenges continue to be an example of what's challenging them today. And you have disparate platforms that need orchestration and bringing together and being having an operational function throughout the tech stack. There's also inconsistent channel experience. You have multiple channels coming on, whether it be digital, whether it be voice and email, and you have all these different channels coming up, and seems like every month a new channel appears. And you need to be able to have consistency across that and to communicate where your customers want to communicate. And finally, there's an endless amount of security and compliance requirements in diverse systems, and that becomes one of those challenges. Another category of challenges that the contact centers are certainly facing is in agent productivity. Again, not a new topic. This has been around for a while, but how do we keep the agents productive? We've seen a very strong challenge in trying to get people hired, to get people ramped on, and then to get those people to stay because it's a very, very difficult environment. Well, those are still in existence today with training costs being high, the time that it takes to ramp people up. And then really, there's more complex interactions because people are using different channels to communicate, and it becomes very, very difficult. And finally, AI implementation and ROI challenges. If some of these customers, they want, customers, excuse me, vendors and are trying to upgrade to AI and they're pushing a lot of AI, but what we are seeing is that there is a huge push to make sure that the ROI is successful. And when contact centers want to introduce new technology, a lot of times they're slow to doing it because they have a fear of their system disruption or that they have limited AI experience. And then they have all these multiple AI solutions out there. They're not really sure how that is going to take a role. And so these are all the challenges that are facing contact centers today that are really giving them a big go. And so you can see some of these statistics at the bottom. 75% of customers expect a response within 5 minutes of a contact center. So that's another challenge that comes in front of them. Or 67% of contact centers challenges report difficulty in their technology integration. This is just from a report this month, matter of fact. And finally, 84% of contact centers plan to invest in AI. Only 16% have. Chris,
I think
anything you'd like to add in terms of those challenges?
yeah, it's a subject we often talk about. I think for me, it's a three-legged stool, really. I mean, it's you've got the agent productivity crisis, but agent expectations, they've got, as you say, super tough job, supervisors, contact centers, super tough job, customer expectations going up, as you say. That stat that, everyone is expect 75% of people wanting, fairly instant answers. And then it's not only that, but as brands, as leaders, at retailers and travel companies. I mean, by definition, we want to please our customers. Of course we do. So our expectations are going up. So yeah, thank God AI is here because I think, contact centers a tough job and human plus AI together, I think in 2025, this is the year of the advance of human plus AI. So let's dig in.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you think about that, it is with human and AI, and only 16% have actually moved to that. It makes me kind of curious to see. So I thought maybe we'll just take a poll of the audience right now. And so if we can push this up, have you adopted AI already? And I'll give you just about 15 seconds to answer that. If you don't mind putting a yes or no in there, and we'll be able to see just where we stand with that. Okay, and now let's see that we got, oh, wow, we've already got a pretty big amount that have already dabbled into the AI market, which kind of changes some of the story, but I know that you're looking for even the latest amount of information. So out of those no's there, can we go ahead and just see what your plans are in terms of getting into AI? So are you looking to do it this year, next year, sometime else in the future? Or you know what, we're just boycotting it altogether. So I'm going to give you about 10 seconds there to answer that question. All right, let's see what the results are. And it looks like it doesn't surprise me one bit. Definitely this year is going to be the next look to see how you're going to implement AI. And then I think we had one or so that would be in the future, but glad to see that nobody's boycotting it altogether. And it's probably pretty important right now for you to get advantage. But there's also some other missing keys to success in the contact center. And I just want to hit these really quick. We know that there's some true real-time AI operations that can be enhanced with AI, also advanced AI agent capabilities. There's some seamless human AI collaboration that needs to take place. And then observability. I mean, there's a lot that can take place with observability and be able to see what's going on in the contact center and how the AI is performing in general. Do you see any points, Chris, with these points?
Yeah, could you maybe zoom in on the human AI collaboration? I think you've got a slide.
Yeah, there we go.
I think for me, as I said, 20, it's somebody else's quote, but I really like it that 2025 is the year that AI and human agents really work together as colleagues. And we'll come on to later a little bit, like particularly with AI agents, when you're building them and operating them, it's more akin to coaching and training and motivating a human agent than I ever realized until I got under the hood of the Quiq platform. But for me, again, we haven't got a poll on this, but I'd be fascinated if anyone actually out there as a consumer actually enjoys being in a queue. I think as consumers, it's a necessary evil. We all know that. But that requirement to sort of sit and wait, I don't feel people actually really enjoy. I think the big game change on voice, of course, was that you can arrange a callback. And then all of a sudden it's fine. Well, I can do other things while I'm waiting. So it becomes an async channel. And I think, being the async messaging specialist we are, I think the key is not to think about a handoff necessarily from an AI agent to human, but a collaboration. And as we'll talk about later, some of the real power here is actually having the AI agent there to support the human agent in the live conversation. So think of it as a collaboration. I genuinely do. AI agents, yes, should be ridding the world of the mundane, should be handling all of your sort of repetitive and more mundane tasks, but it really is a combination.
Yeah, you're totally right with that. We have all this, but we got to figure out, okay, where does the AI fit in the contact center? We have a lot of AI opportunity out there, and we just want to unlock it, let it unleash and implement it into the contact center. But I think it's important to look at where are the biggest impacts that it can make. And so one of those areas is in digital channel management. How do you coordinate? How do you take in all these different digital channels, like I said earlier today, where they're almost popping up every month, uh, depending on a new app that comes out and trying to coordinate all that. And then you hear that, oh, well, my customers want to communicate on this platform or they want to communicate on another platform. And so being able to manage that is a huge opportunity that AI really is able to help you with. The other thing is revitalizing the whole contact center with agentic AI. This is being able to improve autonomous self-service. We've been doing self-service for 20 years. I've been in product management and marketing since 2003, and this has always been one of the things that we've talked about in trying to improve in our contact center is some sort of self-service capabilities. Well, AI now raises that level to something we've just never seen in the market today, and that's with that true autonomous self-service. At the same time, not only are we taking self-service, but we're upping the game of the agents and elevating the human agent performance with AI. And finally, being able to take AI and connecting the systems that we've had real difficulty connecting to in the past, or it's taken a great deal of money and time in order to integrate to those systems, just to find out that the systems are being end of life, a few months later, and it makes it very challenging to stay on top of that. AI helps resolve those types of issues. And finally, you have this inclusive insights with contact center and AI across the board. And those are all ways that AI is really being able to help. But the question is, how can Quiq help you? We see that type of question, and we want to know where can Quiq play in order to resolve these types of issues. And Quiq can assist you with AI integrating into the existing contact center in a very quick time to value. So it's not going to take long. It's another layer on top of your contact center today. It injects the agentic AI, excuse me, it injects agentic AI into the self-service and human agent success. And it gives you better data-driven insights, scalability, and proactive and predictive engagement. Chris, anything you want to elaborate on that?
Definitely. I think, as you touched on, lots of channels coming out. RCS, those out there want to have a little look at that after this Apple and Google both agreeing on a standard for an SMS equivalent of rich contact messaging. Um, why it gets it very exciting, I think, is, as contact center professionals, digital professionals, we often think of the inbound inquiries, and handling them is hard enough, isn't it? But with the last point you made there about proactive and predictive, well, proactive and preemptive almost. I think with these channels, you can reach out to customers before they hit issues. Now, of course, as we just talked about, the contact center snowed under trying to deal with existing demand. So this is where AI has a massive role to play. If you can think about engaging your customers more towards those proactive use cases, top of the funnel, maybe even sort of marketing, sales, sort of upsell use cases, that one-to-one sort of personalization at scale. I think AI really can help you there because it never sleeps and it's got infinite scale to it. So I think for me, that's probably one of the areas that is often overlooked. I think there was a stat that we had that 65% of the revenue of pretty much most businesses, retailers, travel companies, is going to come from sort of existing customers at some point. So if you can get to know those customers better and actually proactively reach out to them, it's a profit driver for your business. So never underestimate the sort of the proactive, preemptive side of this.
I'm so glad you mentioned that because we're going to be talking about some of the proactiveness of AI a little bit later. But I want to make sure that we level set and get everybody up to speed in terms of what agentic AI is. I don't blame anybody for getting a little confused on this and saying, I've heard this term. And the reason why it's a little confusing is because people use these terms interchangeably and sometimes don't use them in the exact way that they're meant to be. And that's what's creating some of the confusion. So I thought if we could just level set really quickly here and talk about agentic AI, I think it will be able to help. Now, agentic AI can independently decide what actions to take. It persists in completing tasks and adapts its approach based on outcomes. And I think the easiest way to look at it is that if you're talking about agentic AI, or if you're questioning what agentic AI is, it's these three things. It plans and executes multi-step tasks. It changes strategies when the initial strategy isn't working. And it makes contextual decisions without human guidance. It can actually perform on its own. And it's really similar to how humans would work through a problem in their normal daily job. Now, at Quiq, we build agentic AI in three different forms. First, in AI agents. AI agents are an AI-powered system that autonomously performs tasks and responds to queries while adapting to other user needs. We also do it with AI assistants, and this is where it empowers the human agents by automating tasks or suggesting responses and providing real-time guidance to improve the overall service quality. And then the third is in agentic AI services. This is where we can expand into other systems through an API, AI agents that are invoked via APIs, allowing custom AI agents to be incorporated into existing workflows and existing systems. Chris, anything you want to add there?
Yeah, I think we'll come on to it later. One of the takeaways today is anyone on this webinar can get access to our platform, AI Studio. We'll talk about it later and begin, dipping into this because I think, yeah, as you say, it's a term that is sort of out there. I even saw Sam Altman in an interview the other day, doesn't particularly like the term agentic AI. It sounds like a lot of mystery, doesn't it? And I think as we dig into it, and I'll give a practical example a little bit later on from one of our customers. But I think that comment that you've got there in green writing for me is the key. And when I first saw, just talking technical just for a second, when I first saw the sort of the prompts, the instructions we're giving to an AI agent on how to operate, what prompts are actually firing, what's the agent doing to actually act on the instructions it's getting, and how are you giving a kind of control, agency? How are you giving it agency to make decisions? I mean, how you write those prompts is not too dissimilar how you would talk to a human. So I think, there's a real art and science to this. And the key is just, as we saw there with the first poll, a lot of people are already getting going on this. Um, and that's brilliant because, best way to learn is to engage with this. But I think often, yeah, have a little think about, well, how are you structuring this as you scale? And as you've touched on, Mark, Quiq is a platform where you can get in hands-on, you can buy the platform to build yourselves. And we will mention it later, but make a call out now. Anyone who wants to follow up with us afterwards, get access to the platform and just get under the hood of this. I really recommend they do because it's the best way to sort of really see, wow, how does changing this prompt really change the tone of voice and the agency of this AI agent I've built?
Great point, Chris, because I think what I like to make sure, I don't want to get too technical. I just want to keep it at a high level. But when you look at that and you say, okay, what am I doing with agentic AI and how is this working? I think it's important just to understand the building blocks in agentic AI and what the key components are. And so we're going to handle this on a very high level, but there's really three different components when you're talking about agentic AI. First are the models, or as a lot of people I'm sure have heard, LLMs. You have these large language models that are out there. And you need to combine that with the processes of your business so that you can understand what you're going to resolve. What are the opportunities to have an AI agent assist you in terms of the solution? And finally, you need to connect all that with your data, customer data, just data in general. And when you combine all those together, the key of agentic AI is to orchestrate all that, to pull it together. And what orchestration is are these different points. Things like resource allocation or other integrations, data pipeline connections, monitoring, observability, what's happening in the process. Are you uncovering certain issues in terms of testing and monitoring in the analytics? All these types of things are really important. And matter of fact, and sometimes you may want to change a model in the middle of communication because a different model can be better for a different function. And you have to have the ability to orchestrate all these different components in one solution. That's what agentic AI is. And that's ultimately what's happening under the covers. And again, keeping it at a very high level.
Couple of points, Mark. I've seen a couple of questions come in, and obviously you can follow up with both of these after the event as well. But I think the great questions, how do you implement changing strategies as you maybe find approaches don't work? And how does the change of strategy work on the technical level? I think anonymous attendees, so I don't know who you are, but absolutely, giving you a walkthrough of AI Studio would be perfect here because actually, as I was alluding to, seeing what prompts fire, see how those prompts are chained and what functions are calling, you can absolutely see, obviously, from the customer experience point of view, is the AI agent engaging with you and giving you the answers and leading you on the process that you would expect. But you can see very much inside how, what prompts are firing, what the LLM calls are, and what data sources. As I say, we're not going to get too technical, but whoever posted that question, yeah, let's do a follow-up afterwards. And then the second part around, does this differ from Power Automate or RPA? Is it an add-on or a replacement? Absolutely. When you're talking about processes, Mark, and integrations, RPA very much a really key area of a business in back office automation. We typically focus on the sort of the CX, the front office side. But if you had a billing question, for example, or you had a question that sort of required an RPA process to fire in the background, we would very much integrate to that. And I think obviously having these systems integrated together is what gives an AI agent more agency and is what makes agentic AI more powerful. So two good questions there.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you brought those up. So that's perfect because when as we're talking about this, I think we're talking very conceptual at this point, almost theoretical. And this is how agentic AI really works. However, I think where people they really start getting it and they can put their finger on it, are in practical applications. So when we're going to kind of move away from some of the theoretical and get into practical. And so, excuse me, but we have an e-commerce company that is doing some AI customer service. And let's go through that example and kind of just walk through their steps of what they're doing in order to bring AI into their customers. And they're doing it really to do three things: to streamline their interactions, to personalize the responses, and enable access across multiple digital channels. So if those are the goals, let's take a look at what they're doing in the step-by-step process of how this works. Now, the first thing that they're doing is they have an AI integration of WhatsApp. So they're using the WhatsApp channel, and the company deploys an AI agent on WhatsApp to handle the questions that are coming in. So as a question comes in, a user can just put it into WhatsApp, and it appears into the system. Now, the second component here is they're trying to do multi-channel support expansion. And this is where you connect AI to digital channels like live chat, mobile apps, social media platforms. And so, as a question might come in, you want to be making sure that it's the same experience or very similar experience appropriate to the channel, no matter which channel that they're using. And you want to be able to switch channels as necessary and sometimes go across those channels in order to deliver a solution because there may be a better channel to address the answer that somebody needs. Well, the third part is they also want to be able to have personalized customer journeys. And that's where an AI agent personalizes the WhatsApp responses and by referencing the history of that customer, maybe their preferences, and past inquiries. So this is not just being we can say, kind of joke, a dumb response. We want to make sure that all the history of what's going on with that customer is being included so that all the responses that the AI agent is sending out are relevant, that they're consistent across other channels, and that they're answering the question in an appropriate way. And frankly, not aggravating the customer because they feel like the company should already know that. The fourth component is leveraging a proactive outreach. And so this is where proactive reminders are being sent out. Things like, hi, John, your subscription will be renewing next week. Would you like to update your payment details? It could be in certain situations where you have a monthly subscription that's coming due and you want to coordinate all that together and be able to pay that off. Anything like that can be put into the system and work together in order to have a more encompassing solution. And then finally, the fifth part, create an intelligent escalation path. So now if AI can't resolve it, we want it to escalate to human appropriately. That means send all the context, the transcripts, have account details, and any prior interactions. The value of that is on WhatsApp, customers can get access to all that information. Agents have summarization that can maybe take place there, and they can get notifications and make sure that they can seamlessly resume conversations because a lot with WhatsApp is somebody may not respond immediately. They may put a question out there, go get a cup of coffee, and then come back and respond later. And we need to be able to make sure that context is maintained throughout. Any points that you want to highlight, Chris, on
Yeah, I mean,
these?
you look at my LinkedIn, it's moved to messaging. Big, obviously been a big fan of messaging since WhatsApp really took off. And I think, yeah, that's one of the big advantages of working with a vendor like Quiq is understanding these channels, as we mentioned, and being able to build once, like we said with the example here on WhatsApp, and then deploy many, deploy to all these different channels. And then, as I talked about earlier, with AI, it gives you the ability to think about some of these use cases of proactive outreach because the ROI completely changes. But the 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 real sort of point I would mention is that these channels, digital channels, the messaging sort of social channels, definitely start to embrace them if you're not already. But they do have peculiarities to them, and obviously we build once, we use many. But how you might actually build an AI conversational experience on a WhatsApp, or let's say SMS, is going to be very different to maybe how you do it on a richer channel like RCS or Facebook Messenger or Meta Messenger. So it's a whole sort of new world of engagement, I think, with AI, because as I say, we can proactively outreach to customers and engage customers where maybe the profitability wasn't there before. So yeah, I think that's what excites me most.
Perfect. So if you look at this, how does the customer benefit from it? Massive speed, availability, the 24/7 capability. Chris, you mentioned that it never sleeps, so you always have the availability up there. You have channel consistency, the personalization to be able to say, hey, you also have another bill. Do you want to just add that to this bill in order to get paid? You get revenue faster so that now you're being proactive. And then there's an ease of access because it's so easy to use. And all this work is being done for you, for the company, as well as helping your customers be able to get their work done. And of course, the results really come into play here by saying it's frictionless. There's no interference. It's happening automatically, and it's a huge relief. There's enhanced efficiency for routine tasks, proactive problem solving. You see improved personalization, and ultimately the results are being in a higher CSAT scores. I want to be able to give another example, though, if we can, because I said that you have AI working autonomously as an AI agent, but then you have AI assistants. And so we're going to take a similar approach, talk about a retail customer who are using AI assistants to aid their human agents. And they want to be able to, excuse me, improve efficiency and accuracy and CSAT, of course, deliver faster resolutions and seamless support, and benefit both customers and agents. And so I'm going to just kind of go through this quick because we also have 5 steps here that I want to be able to uncover with you. And so step 1 would be to deploy AI for agent support. And this is where the company deploys an AI assistant alongside a support human agent to be able to help answer any live chats or WhatsApp and email questions that come in. Well, then they're able to respond and you have a customer inquiry comes in on WhatsApp and says, hi, I received the wrong product and I need to exchange it. But I also want to know if I can get a discount for all this inconvenience. And so when this comes in, we need to be able to look at it, analyze it, get the a history of what this customer is calling about, and then be able to give the human agent some assistance. They give you contextual data retrieval, maybe provide 3 suggested responses, and then look at the knowledge base of integrations to be able to see, is this person always asking about this? Are they was the product incorrectly ordered? All these types of things to be able to help improve the human agent experience. Also, again, we mentioned last time with the personalized interaction so that the human agent can select just one option, the best option, and say, sorry for the mix-up, John. I've started the exchange and can offer a 10% discount. Will this work? And then be able to get the follow-up. And then finally, an automated follow-up. So after everything's taken place, they can actually, an AI agent can follow up and say, we'd like to send up a message just to confirm that you've received the correct product and that you're satisfied. So all of this would be an example of how an AI assistant can help a human agent answer questions and then still be able to interject an AI agent to do follow-ups. And all this is happening autonomously. And if you look at it, I just want to be able to show a screen. This is what the screen would look like from Quiq's point of view. So you can see response obligations, unimportant message filtering, so it just stays on the most important thing that's happening at that period of time. It summarizes all the previous communication that's taken place, so you're not scrolling through and taking a long time to read it, but it's getting almost instant feedback. It'll gives your AI assistance gives you the suggestions so that you can make the best decision that you need, and then compose the message all at the same time. This is cutting out tons of time in terms of the human agent experience and making this overall very seamless. And Chris, to your point, in terms of how AI is working with humans in order to make the overall approach better. Any comments you want to make there?
Yeah, and also for agents, it's making their life a lot better. Being able to, suggest and help compose and summarization. I mean, we worked in contact centers long enough, the two of us. I mean, you've got more customers waiting in the queue. You're under pressure to get on to the next ones. Summarization is such a pain for
Right.
agents. So yeah, I think this has got an example a bit later. I'll talk about one of our UK customers on this. But yeah, good points, Mark.
You see, all this stuff is going to help the customer again, faster response times, accurate and consistent responses, multi-channel support, because it doesn't matter if it's being done on WhatsApp or SMS. It can be even done in other channels as well. You get improved problem solving and, of course, that personalization that all the customers want because they get so frustrated when an agent doesn't know anything and has to repeat things to a new agent and on escalations. It's so frustrating. But ultimately, you get a massive decrease in average handle time. That is a major win of the results. You get improved CSAT scores, not to mention faster training and agent support. You can get agents out the door faster. We talked about some of the problems that you have with agent productivity and getting the training done. Well, when you have an AI assistant at your side, you can get to the floor faster to take those calls and interactions much more quickly because you know that you can accommodate and address these questions with the AI assistant's help all along. It empowers agents, and then of course you get the data-driven insights as well. Chris, I know that we have some other examples, and you being in the UK, I think you have a good example of how this is taking place in real life.
Yeah, and I think it also sort of brings together some of the themes we've said today. So you sort of agreed that we're not going to mention them by name, so we can shine a light a little bit more internally on how they're operating. They're fully okay with that, by the way. I think actually they're on the webinar, which is good. But yeah, one of the UK's leading flooring retailers, and for the audience here, I think the key to this one is that obviously it's online, but also in store, but also an at-home option where you can actually get the products out to your home to try them out yourself. And one of the things, having worked with flooring companies for a little while now, it blew me away actually how complicated to some degree some of these decisions around particularly engineered hardwood flooring can actually be. So if you just click on, we'll just dig into how they're beginning to use AI in this process. So basically, we're looking for an AI agent here to help three distinct audiences. And I'll start on the left of this graphic below, so we're looking at, sorry, don't click on yet. If we're looking at website visitors, as I mentioned, folks coming through to the website that maybe want some support on, okay, I'm interested in this product, but if I put this hardwood flooring into my conservatory, it gets hot in the summer, cold in the winter, is that a suitable choice? Contact center agent might be having the same conversation over whatever channel, chat or even voice, with a customer on that same subject. And then an internal staff member that's maybe looking at this scenario around, training the learning and development department, training up some new colleagues. Or indeed, it might be internal information that would never surface to an external customer. So effectively, we're looking to build a AI agent here to access, knowledge resources, FAQs, product catalogs, merchandising, retailers, order lookup, Wizmo, as we all know, where's my order, all around fulfillment, and then sort of account information. And we can have that AI agent, as we can see here with the first bullet that's come up, align on those resources once, and how it might answer on a particular channel will change. The context of the question will change. Is this a contact center agent asking? Is this a website visitor? Or is it an internal colleague? Big difference there might be an internal colleague. You might be able to sort of highlight cost price in there and how you actually calculate the pricing on some of these jobs. You're not going to show that to your website visitors. So the AI agent can understand the audience it's dealing with and access, the resources, the company resources, the knowledge in the appropriate way. If you click onto the next bullet, Mark, observability. We touched on this, and again, for brevity today, we can't go too deep. But for me, observability, often people are, well, oh, that's that hallucination thing, obviously. How do you mitigate against hallucinations? Obviously, generative by definition is non-deterministic. If it doesn't know the answer, if you're not leveraging a platform like Quiq, then you do run the risk of it making up the answers. But I think for me here, the key to our approach is that you can see under the hood, like I alluded to answering that question earlier, what prompts are firing, what functions are calling, what actual data sources are being interrogated to get this information. So you can see the accuracy of the information being surfaced. And obviously you can build and test and debug a lot of this before you would put it out to an external audience. You can get clarity. Okay, well, when we ask the agent in this, respect, what actual prompts are firing? What is it actually doing under the hood? Because I think for a lot of people, that's what puts them off about agentic AI is, these AI agents, how do I make sure I can control it? And then one that's often overlooked is consistency. How do you ensure a consistent answer? By definition, generative is going to generate the answer. Half jokingly, but you don't want it to start talking like a pirate, one time. You want to be able to control that tone of voice. You want to ensure that the answer, if you're giving it around, let's say, engineered hardwood flooring, is going to be consistent. And then if you click onto the last one, I think this is sort of bringing it together. It's the art and the science. And art, to some degree, I'm talking about those of us that obviously come from the sort of the previous era of conversational AI, natural language understanding, NLU type bots. Those skills, they're not going away. Conversation design, understanding your business processes, as you touched on, Mark, really, really key to make sure that you're bounding your AI agents to the right resources and the right processes. But this new skill, really, that is an art, having seen some of the prompts our prompt engineers write, how do you actually write the prompt in the way to get the best out of an LLM? And that's combined with the science, really, of, AI engineering, understanding, well, what is the right models to use in this case? How are they performing? And then for me, comes back to this, even though this is a talk on AI, how do you understand, what a human might be doing, a human agent might be doing to resolve that customer's issue? And can we improve, the prompts and the AI agents that we're building to learn from those humans? So yeah, here's a quick example in the time we have.
Yeah, no, that's great. As a matter of fact, that art and science, that's one of my favorite parts about this job and this industry in general, is that we get to balance both art and science at the same time, because it really makes a difference to the end user when you are not just throwing things out there, making it difficult, but you have the art to be gentle enough, empathetic, and really be able to help get them through some of these challenges that they're facing. Um, what I was going to do here is we received a lot of questions that just came in, Chris. I don't know if you saw them, and we're going to get to those. So, but I wanted to know that one of the questions that we get is, where do I start? Um, okay, so you say Quiq can do all this stuff, but where do we get going? And so this is our website here. And what I want to be able to do is go to quiq.com. I'm going to recommend that you go there and look up at the top here. Right here, it says take a live tour of Quiq's AI Studio and get answers from the experts. Register now. If you click on that, you're going to be able to go to download, or not download, excuse me, AI Studio and be able to get access, request access to AI Studio. You'll be able to see how you can do this for yourself. You'll get free access to it, be able to try it out, experiment. Matter of fact, you can send it to other people in your company if you'd like, and maybe they're more technical than you, and you want to get your hands on it. This is a perfect way to get started to see what this interface is like and how easy it is to get started. That's a big part. Now, if you are just not into that tech side piece and you just want to be able to, you don't really know where to go, let's go ahead and click on this Let's Talk down here. There you'll get access to a demo. We can be happy to join on a call, be able to show you how this works live, and we can get more into the technical details. But the key I want to pull out is really what's on the right side of the screen here, and that's that you're going to get access to AI Studio today using quiq.com, and that will give you access to Quiq's knowledge base, a developer's knowledge base, and it gives you we're going to grant you access into a weekly office hours call that we have with our AI engineers that you can ask any questions you want. You'll be able to send them questions. We'll present on them once a week. It's on Thursdays, actually exactly at this time. And so for the month of January, at least, you'll be able to join those calls, no charge. We want to be able to help you understand the tool and get started. That's what's most important. Um, it's great that you get access to the tool, but you need to be able to understand it. And this is our way of being able to help you get started and uncover some of these mysteries about Agentic AI, AI Studio, and how it can help you immediately. So right there is the most important thing that I want to be able to get you started on. And then, Chris, if we can kind of answer some of these questions that came in, and if it's all right, I'll take the first one that came in. It's, can Quiq integrate into other cloud telephony products? And the answer is yes. And so we can use those telephony product and we can add a layer on top to be able to upgrade you in terms of the AI, enhance your overall solution. So you don't have to do a complete rip and replace what it used to be that way in the contact center years ago. But this is just layering on top and giving you that access to AI. Um, Chris, you want to take a question or maybe to clarify any of the other points that we've made?
I think we've got a slide, haven't we, in the that we can show some of the experiences, some of the visuals, what it looks like. But as you bring that up, just sort of um, using that cloud telephony question as well. I think for me, there's, you've got your CCaaS platforms, your telephony platforms, you know, expertise across all areas of contact center and workforce management, not really AI specialists. And then you have the AI only platforms that don't really have a agent contact center product like us that understand AI incredibly well, but don't understand digital messaging. So I am biased. I do work at Quiq, but one of the major attractions to Quiq is that we understand both worlds and we're that layer, as Mark says, that sits on top. But if perhaps you click through, because one of the questions came up, which is, you showed it with digital messaging, but what about the two big dogs, voice and email? I say big dogs because they're always the high volume channels, aren't they? So
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think, probably the best way is it's quite nice to bring this slide up because it starts with the customer first and foremost. The customer, like you said with the UK flooring example, is maybe coming to your website or contacting you. Typically, in the journey for most brands out there, they're going to move left initially. In other words, they're going to put the AI agent in the sort of first position to engage with the customer. Now, in the old world of chatbots, that was always the containment strategy, wasn't it? Put the chatbot up there, frustrate the customer, and then the customer, is going to come to the human agent eventually. Obviously, with AI agents, very conversational. The intent understanding of what the customer's asking is very, very, very high. On telephony, again, as Mark says, click to have a demo with us. I think we've got one of our big airline customers on the webinar today that does voice AI at real large volumes now. The speech to text, text to speech capabilities now are really advanced. And of course, how you build AI in the voice channel is very different. If I was going to take a pause now of 5 minutes in this webinar, it would feel like an eternity for everyone. So yeah, not an async channel. Obviously, the way that you design the AI agent responses are very different. And then often email is overlooked. I mean, it's a perfect channel for AI agents because you've got a lot of dense information there. Can sit on top of, to the telephony question, sit on top of your ticketing system. And there's a lot of repetitive questions there that the AI can answer and, fully answer them, close the ticket, in your CRM, and your agents don't even need to touch it. But obviously, it could be that it creates the answer, agent can top and tail, understand that's the answer they want to send, and off you go. So, yes, definitely voice and email as well. And the key is to build these experiences, even though I've touched on they'll be different, how you actually surface what a conversation will look like on each channel. You're having them all in one platform. I think that's the key. And most importantly, in my view anyway, yes, we're in the world of AI, certainly 2024 and 25, but yeah, as brands out there, it's our human agents that really can make a big difference. And now we're reserving them, obviously, to engage on the issues and questions that really matter. So having that on the same platform, I think for me is really, really key.
Yeah, that's a great point. I'm going to take another question if you don't mind, Chris. And let's see, one came in. If we are 100% human agent today, where should we start with AI, and how do we know we're ready? Well, there's a couple different strategies that you can do. And matter of fact, it depends on your company. You can either, if you have the resources and you want to be able to build your AI agents yourself and to take on that responsibility, great. That's what our tool is about. That's what AI Studio is designed to help you do. You to build the tools you need to be successful. However, if that can be overwhelming to you, we have our group of AI engineers and can certainly help consult and walk through some of that with you. And we'd be more than happy to sit down with you and give you some guidance there. But, I used to be responsible for a professional services team, very similar into this industry like this. And what we would do is we'd sit down and we would talk with the contact center to find out what are your immediate pain points. Just let's rate them and say what are the highest ones that you're coming across today. And when we would look at those, we'd look at the biggest ones that we could take, they call it low-hanging fruit. And we would take that one and say, okay, if we resolved this, what percentage of calls or interactions could we eliminate from your queue today? And maybe let's say that's 20% of the calls of or interactions are about this topic. Well, then what we would recommend is we would walk through this scenario. What's the customer journey? How can we address those questions and be able to eliminate that from your portfolio and know that you just went from 23% of interactions are on that topic all the way down to maybe zero, maybe it's 3%. And you always know that there's going to be situations that we need to get a human agent involved, and that's okay. We're there to help and support it. So what I always want to do, and just answering that question directly, is make a list. What are the issues you have? What are the percentage of interactions that you're dealing with those today? And then start from there. It doesn't have to be resolving all questions all at the same time. Just start with one. And once you get one down, then you can bring in and address the additional questions after that. And then I guarantee it's a slippery slope because once you get into one, you want to get to the next one. You want to solve the next one. And you'll see that, oh, all of a sudden, this was only 15% of the interactions. Now it's 30%. Well, that's because you just eliminated some of the other interactions coming in. So I just hopefully that answers that question. Chris, would you like to? We have another one coming in: LinkedIn, TikTok, or Blue Sky in the channel pipeline. And are you able to bring your own channel? Are you able to take that one?
Yeah, and I know Andrew. Hi, Andrew. Glad to see you. Yeah, obviously used to work together in the past. Brilliant questions, and of course, as Mark alluded to earlier, there are new channels every day. Blue Sky actually, hand up. I don't know if that's one for South Africa where you're based. So yeah, showing my lack of knowledge there. But obviously, TikTok and LinkedIn are really big channels. And that's one of the real advantages of Quiq. And sort of touching on that point before of where to start with AI, start somewhere to Mark's point. And I think the key is understanding how to build AI and how to build these experiences on messaging channels. And certainly, yeah, I think with LinkedIn, definitely in the pipeline. Let's actually reconnect, Andrew. I know you'll have some big retail, prospects there, I'm sure, in South Africa to talk about. And like you say, bring your own channel is always the great approach. If there's a market demand there for a channel, then absolutely we want to talk to you about it.
Great, Chris. I was just answering another question, and the question just came in, is this webinar recorded, and can we access it later? And the answer is yes, absolutely. We're going to get this to you. And matter of fact, then that way you can get started. You can access AI Studio, and you'll get access to all that information that I was talking about previously in one of my other slides. And we totally understand that sometimes people might miss a portion, want to go back. Maybe we went too fast on something. Our goal here is to just give you as much information as we can, set the stage of what's going on, and then load you with information on how we can help. We realize that 1 hour just isn't enough time to really sit with you and answer all the questions. So our hope is to make sure that you get access to them, and you can take your time, reach out to us. We would love to be able to sit down. I mean, obviously, this is our business, our livelihood, and we just want to make sure that you're happy and understanding and making a difference in your business the best that you can. And so, however we can help, we want to be able to provide that to you.
And slightly
Um,
tongue Jerica, obviously in today's AI world, yes, you'll get the recording, stick it into Chat GPT, and you can summarize all the best bits of Mark and I in 5 minutes, I'm sure.
that's wonderful. And we have 1 minute left. Let's see if I can take on one more here. And Chris, if you want to do this, because I know that you just really believe in this too. And that is, can Quiq, sorry, my screen's kind of jumping around, but can Quiq help with the handoff between humans and AI? Would you mind taking that one?
Yeah, and I think yeah, we've got a minute, so this is the very fast answer. As I said earlier, handoff's almost the wrong, it's almost a kind of phrase that feels like the AI agent failed, you're going to hand it to the human. Maybe in the future it'll be the other way around. Who knows? The human did first and then the AI came in. But it's the interplay, I think. And as we talk with the agent assist use cases there, they're incredibly powerful, having the AI helping the human to do a great job. And I think it will get to a future. And I talked to a good friend of mine, Ronald Rubens, at another company called Sentio CX about this, in that we'll have this continuous sort of triage very soon, I think, where actually the agent, AI agent is handling the question. And, you get an idea, again, it could be based on prioritization, understanding as a customer, whether you're a VIP or not, when the human agent's available. And you can explore, with the AI agent until that point. It's not a one and done, it's not a handover as such. I think we'll see this interplay between AI and human agent really develop now, how the two work hand in glove, tit for tat to actually make sure we resolve customer issues a lot quicker, more efficiently and effectively.
Great way to close this out, Chris. I just wanted to thank everybody for attending. I do want to say that if you were coming and wanting a more technical a webinar and getting into the details, today we just wanted to kind of cover it at a higher level, but we have the technical information available for you. And if we need to meet, please reach out, ask the questions. We'd just be thrilled that we get a chance to go into this a little bit deeper and help you understand it. For everybody else, I just ask that you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for joining us on this call. And we really look forward to getting a chance to talk with you and experience AI together in the CX world. So thank you, everybody. Enjoy.
Thank you. Bye bye.